the lawsuits against the climate action. The Charter claims to be technology neutral.
Since 1994, the Energy Charter Treaty has envisioned global energy cooperation that is assumed to be lacking under the international law. Provisions focus on protection of foreign investments, inclusive conditions for energy trade and disputes resolution are all embedded. However, according to a report by CSOs Uganda, it is clear that the Energy Charter Treaty will not address Africa's numerous energy problems.
Countries that's Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Poland, very many countries are exiting the treaty, withdrawing from the treaty, while on the other hand, African countries are expressing interest to join the ACT. So we were wondering and examining why we are having such discussions, why the East African countries are expressing interest, why the others are withdrawing from the treaty.
A series of concerns have been raised denoting loops in the 29-year-old treaty as African stakeholders point out fear and risks associated with shrinking policy space for governments to protect public interest. Still, the global initiative towards the net zero and the environmental protection is a major factor, not forgetting the punitive measures such as compensation of up to $400 million in case of treaty exit.
Leading to the Energy Charter Treaty by a country such as Uganda would be detrimental to both its economy, but also its action towards environmental protection and abating the effects of climate change. The Energy Charter Treaty protects investment in fossil fuel and does not protect actions or policies that are brought up to ensure that governments or actors or investors protect the environments where they are working or they are investing.
The logic there is that everything that we do or that is done in our oil and gas sector is exposed to everyone to see. Okay? And that is the closest we can get for now at trying to monitor what government is doing in there or allowing to be done in there. But that does not remove how much it will affect the environment anyway. So what it requires for us then is to say, what is our catchment plan for example, a spill? What is our catchment plan for biodiversity? One of the biggest issues that came up was whether our risk assessment was open to the public. And Total had done a risk assessment of the field for the whole pipeline, but it was not open to public. That is one of the things that affected them internationally.
This discussion enlightened us to investigate what many think is the biggest reason why African states are joining, is because they are assured of various investments, which is regarded as a myth.
The common myth for governments in low-income countries is that acceding to the Energy Charter Treaty will increase investment in the energy sector. There is no, at this point, evidence to support that myth. In fact, when you analyze Uganda's foreign direct investment, you will find that countries like China, Kenya, that do not necessarily have these bilateral investment treaties, invest much more in Uganda than countries like the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, with whom we have currently running bilateral investment treaties. So, to assume that by signing the Energy Charter Treaty, we will attract more investment in the energy sector is a myth.
In a Zoom interaction with Christine Kaya Nachimwero, the Shadow Minister for Water and Environment, fossil fuel investor protection, even after ratifying states' exit, the treaty is debatable.
But for sure, practice-wise, we don't see this. So if countries have already subscribed to the Paris Agreement and they have committed to reduce carbon emissions, and yet the energy companies are after making profits from extraction of fossil fuels, there is some contradiction there. So when we talk about sustainable development as a country, and we have established our targets, any investor in our country must abide by our commitments, not abide by the profits that they invest from the what? From the business.
Additionally, she says there is no mechanism to address the growing pollution load, and the government will be damned if they proceed.
For example, our measurement, the measurement responses by Uganda are still poor. The investor will tell you, I'm still within the limits, but because your technologies are poor, you are not able to ascertain the amounts, and you do not have the liberty to openly interface with these people to see what they're actually doing. We are not certain of the pollution that will accrue.
At the same dialogue, a representative from Uganda Investment Authority assured Ugandans that the Energy Charter Treaty is under review and that the ministry will soon respond to ensure sustainable energy investment.
I have no comments now, but Ministry of Energy, I know for a fact, and I've talked to some officials there, they are reconsidering everything that. Thank you so much, civil society organizations. Siatini, I'm very proud of the work that you're doing. You're questioning these things as stakeholders, and government is waking up and saying, wait a minute, are we making a mistake? And they're having discussions and having dialogues, and they are really re-evaluating some of these programs. And I know ECT is still under review. We won't skip the third phase, hopefully.
CSOs and other climate change activists continue to encourage African energy ministry leaders to make sure that their countries, majority of which possess a rich variety of energy resources, do not fall prey to the Energy Charter Treaty. Ronah Nahabwe, Smart24 TV, Business Today.